The darkest chapters of history weren't just written by men. Women played a significant, chilling role in the horrors of the Holocaust. They smiled as they sent thousands to their deaths. They took pleasure in the screams, the suffering, the slow agony of those trapped in their grasp. But when the war ended, their reign of terror collapsed, and justice came with a vengeance. There were no escape routes, no second chances. Dragged before the world, their fates were sealed in blood. Some begged. Some wept. Others met death with the same cold stare they once gave their victims. But none could outrun the horror they had unleashed. Their executions were not just punishment. They were reckoning. And some, in their final moments, suffered fates even worse than those they inflicted. This is the brutal, forgotten end of the female Nazi guards. And it's far more horrifying than you've ever imagined. The involvement of female Nazi guards in the atrocities of the Holocaust. These women, who once enforced the terror of concentration camps like Auschwitz and Ravensbrück, were later hunted down and tried for their crimes in the aftermath of World War II. Join us as we explore the trials, the justice meted out, and the chilling legacies of these female war criminals. Let's get started. Following the conclusion of World War II, the world grappled with the magnitude of the horrors committed during the Holocaust. The brutality of Nazi Germany's genocidal machinery has largely been associated with the men who led it, but the role of women in these atrocities should not be overlooked. Many women were directly involved in the operation of concentration camps, where they participated in some of the most heinous acts imaginable. After the war, these women were rounded up, tried, and held accountable for their participation in the crimes that led to the death of millions. Post-war justice. Swift retribution for female Nazi guards. After the Allied forces defeated Nazi Germany in 1945, there was a concerted effort to identify, arrest, and prosecute those responsible for the war crimes of the Holocaust. While the trials of male Nazi leaders such as Adolf Hitler's inner circle dominated international attention, women who had served as guards or overseers in concentration camps also faced prosecution. The process was efficient and often swift. This was particularly true for the women who were involved in the horrific operations of concentration and extermination camps like Auschwitz, Ravensbrück, and Bergen-Belsen. The Belsen trial. The execution of Irma Grese. One of the most infamous female Nazi guards was Irma Grese, a woman whose name has become synonymous with the cruelty of Nazi concentration camps. Known as the Hyena of Auschwitz, Grese's sadistic behavior made her one of the most notorious figures among the female guards of the Third Reich. Born on October 7, 1923, Grese had a troubled childhood, marked by the suicide of her mother when she was just 13. After a failed attempt to become a nurse, Grese joined the SS in 1847-1942 at the age of 19. She was first assigned to Ravensbrück concentration camp before being transferred to Auschwitz-Birkenau, where she quickly earned a reputation for brutality. Grese was involved in the selection process for the gas chambers, where she decided which prisoners would be sent to their deaths. Juana Bormann, a sadistic guard at Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen. Another female Nazi guard who gained notoriety for her cruelty was Juana Bormann, born on October 10, 1893. Bormann's early life was unremarkable, and she worked as a domestic servant before joining the SS in 1938. Once enlisted, she was stationed at several concentration camps, including Auschwitz, where her brutality became well known. Bormann was notorious for using a German shepherd to terrorize the prisoners, taking a perverse pleasure in the suffering she inflicted. Bormann's cruelty continued throughout her time at Auschwitz, and in 1944, she was transferred to Bergen-Belsen, where she remained until the camp's liberation. After the war, Bormann was arrested by British authorities and brought to trial at the Belsen trials, where she was convicted of her role in the atrocities. Elisabeth Volkenrath, the ruthless supervisor at Auschwitz. Elisabeth Volkenrath was another infamous female supervisor who played a key role in overseeing the operations at Auschwitz-Birkenau, one of the largest and most notorious of the Nazi death camps. Born on September 5, 1919, Volkenrath initially trained as a hairdresser before joining the SS in 1941. She was soon assigned to work at Ravensbrück and later at Auschwitz, where she quickly rose through the ranks to become a senior supervisor. Volkenrath was known for her cruelty and played a direct role in overseeing the selection process for the gas chambers. As a supervisor, Volkenrath was responsible for managing other female guards and ensuring that prisoners were treated harshly. Herta Ehlert, complicity in cruelty, and the Ravensbrück trial. Herta Ehlert, born on March 26, 1905, in Berlin, was another woman who participated in the brutal regime of Nazi concentration camps. Ehlert worked as a housekeeper before joining the SS in 1939, seeking more stable employment. She was first assigned to Ravensbrück, a concentration camp for women, where she quickly gained a reputation for her strict enforcement of the camp's harsh rules. Later, she was transferred to Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen, continuing her role as a guard and participating in the oppressive system of cruelty that defined these camps. While Ehlert was not as notorious as some of her colleagues for sadistic behavior, her participation in the atrocities was no less significant. She was complicit in the horrors of the camp system, and after the war, she was arrested and tried at the Belsen trials. Ehlert was sentenced to 20 years in prison, a relatively lenient sentence compared to the executions handed down to other female guards. Dorothea Binz, the assistant chief warden at Ravensbrück. Dorothea Binz was another female guard who became infamous for her cruelty, particularly during her time at Ravensbrück, a camp known for its particularly harsh conditions. Born on March 16, 1920, in Fürsterei-Dusterlake, Germany, Binz joined the SS at a young age and began her career as a camp guard in 1939. Her ruthlessness quickly earned her a promotion to assistant chief warden at Ravensbrück, where she oversaw the brutal treatment of prisoners. Binz was notorious for her violent tendencies, often administering beatings and taking pleasure in the suffering of the camp's inmates. Maria Mandl, the highest-ranking female guard at Auschwitz. Maria Mandl was one of the most high-ranking and infamous female guards in the Nazi concentration camp system. Born on January 10, 1912, in Münzkirchen, Austria, Mandl joined the SS in 1938 and was assigned to various camps before eventually being posted to Auschwitz in 1942. There, she rose to the rank of Oberaufseherin, or Chief Senior Supervisor, making her the highest-ranking female guard at the camp. Mandl was directly involved in the selection process, deciding which prisoners would be sent to the gas chambers. She also oversaw the forced labor of female prisoners and was notorious for her sadistic behavior, including arbitrary beatings and executions. The Ravensbrück trial, justice for female Nazi perpetrators. The Ravensbrück trial, held in 1947, was one of several post-war trials that sought justice for the female guards who had participated in the Holocaust. These trials were crucial for ensuring that the women who had actively participated in the Nazi regime's crimes were held accountable for their actions. Although many of the women who were tried faced the death penalty, others were given prison sentences. The Ravensbrück trial was just one of many that helped bring justice to the victims of the Holocaust and ensured that those responsible for the suffering would not escape retribution. The Belsen trials, executions and accountability. The Belsen trials, held in 1945, were among the first trials to address the role of female Nazi guards in the Holocaust. These trials focused on the atrocities committed at Bergen-Belsen, a concentration camp that had been liberated by British forces. The trials resulted in the execution of several female guards, including Irma Grese and Juana Bormann, who were found guilty of war crimes and sentenced to death. The Belsen trials helped establish the precedent for holding female war criminals accountable for their actions and sent a message that justice would be served, regardless of the perpetrator's gender. The role of female guards in the Holocaust. A grim legacy. The involvement of women in the Holocaust has often been overlooked in the broader narrative of the war. But their role was no less significant than that of their male counterparts. Female guards in concentration camps like Auschwitz, Ravensbrück, and Bergen-Belsen actively participated in the torture, dehumanization, and murder of millions of innocent people. Their sadism and cruelty, as well as their active complicity in the Nazi regime's genocidal policies, left an indelible mark on history. Conclusion: ensuring justice for the atrocities of the Holocaust. The post-war trials were an essential part of the process of ensuring that those responsible for the Holocaust were held accountable. The women who were tried and executed for their roles in the concentration camp system represented a small but significant part of the machinery of genocide. The trials, including the Belsen and Ravensbrück trials, served as a reminder that no one, regardless of their gender, could escape responsibility for the atrocities of the Holocaust. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let's continue to learn from the past, so we never forget. See you in the next one.